If you just logged on, welcome. My name is Alicia. I am your co-host today. I'm also joined by Kevin. Welcome, Kevin.
Hello, everybody. Happy January.
Happy January.
Crazy.
Kevin just is a new dad again with twin babies. Already has a 6-year-old and has some twin babies. So he's a real rock star, rocking it on.
Hopefully the bags under my eyes aren't too prominent this morning, but we'll do our best. I'm excited to be here.
All right, well, we're going to jump into the content. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. I just want to start off by saying that we really appreciate your grace and patience as we move to the time today. These webinars are always scheduled for the same Thursday or third Wednesday of the month or whatever at the same time. And when we realized it was overlapping with the inauguration start time, we just wanted to move it back and be considerate of everyone. So thank you. Thank you so much for your patience. And we're going to jump in. So Kevin, why don't you let us know what we're talking about today?
Absolutely. Alicia, if you want to go ahead and share your screen with the PowerPoint up so we can show them the slides and stuff. We're excited because we're talking about some simple ways to help you guys with your kind of sales productivity, right? So the title of this was 4 simple ways to make each sales action more productive. So what's cool is we're going to really start kind of granularly, and we're going to talk about an overall, what does 2021 look like, right? So as the year changes over, as we start, really, this is the time of year when we all start looking back and being a little bit more introspective and going, what did we like? What worked last year? What are we doing moving forward? So Alicia's going to give us kind of an overview as far as that stuff goes. And then we're going to start jumping into the next level. Why should video be in your sales? Why is that important this year? Just like it has been, regardless of how long you've been with us. One of the things we've realized, Alicia and I were talking about this week, that we've had some users who have been with us for years. So this feels like we talk about the same things, but what we're realizing is this is still like, we're still on the uprise. Video is still super important. So why? And last but not least, we're going to talk about how, right? How to add video into your sales and what are some specific ways and places that you can start to put some videos in that are going to make you really productive within your sales system and your sales process. So Alicia, why don't you kind of start off with what you've seen? I know you've done a lot of research on 2021, so give us some of that stuff.
Yeah, it was actually really exciting when I started looking at what our sales leaders, what people in the industry were talking about for 2021. And it was especially exciting because I was seeing all of the themes that we talk about all the time pop up. This quote was great. I loved it. It was by Dan Tyre. He's the sales director at HubSpot. And he said, I am confident that video will stick in 2021. The underlying statistics are undeniable. Salespeople who use video will connect at 3 times the rate of those who don't, reducing the inefficiency of the outreach process as a whole. But I went ahead and I just searched sales trends for 2021. And what you guys are about to see, all of these quotes, these headlines, came just from a handful of articles. Make sure your email messages are deep and provide value. Converting on camera will be everything in 2021. Sales reps will thrive with empathy and understanding. Empathy will be key. Video for sales outreach will have a much greater presence. Brands demonstrating empathy. Value-based selling. Video killed the radio star. Video for sales. Building rapport and authentic relationships will become even more important. And then fostering a human connection. Any of those words sound familiar? Things that Kevin and I talk about all the time, right? So it's really exciting because you guys especially, right? Our BombBomb family, our customers that are joining us today, you guys are already ahead of the curve on this, right? You guys are already cultivating these practices in your business that are putting you ahead of your competition. So it's really exciting to see that these ideas and these philosophies that BombBomb has been teaching, you guys already believe in. You're here. You already believe in video. You already believe in demonstrating empathy in your sales process. That's why you use video. Mm-hmm. You're already at the forefront of what's happening this year. So it's exciting. It's exciting that culture has caught up to these things that we already believe in.
You know what I think is so funny, and you put a lot of these quotes together because you had done some of this research, Alicia, but as I was reading through all of this, I loved that none of it was talking about like numbers, right? And those sort of things. The keywords that you've already mentioned this out for me, empathy is on here like 2 or 3 times. Value, is on here, right? So building that relationship, that empathy, building that authenticity. I love that bottom right one, fostering a human connection. This is how people are wanting to communicate now. And so I know we talked a lot last year about you can't just do the same things you've always been doing and expect them to work. It's great to see that, yeah, that's still true coming into this year, but how are we going to get over that? And it's by building that real honest relationship and some of those sort of things. So I know if you're anything like me, when you come into a new year or you start setting new goals, it's always like, okay, here's where I want to get. Where the heck do I start with this, right? So we wanted to talk about kind of some of the basics when it comes to overall sales. And there's really two different pieces that we want you to think about and two different pieces that we're going to focus on today. The first is your sales process, right? And I want you to think about the sales process. You can see that definition below, is kind of a set of actions that you're going to take, you or your sales team, depending on what your role is, in order to close the new customer, in order to make the sale. So this is the process that we're going to go through. We're going to talk a lot about sales process and where video fits in the sales process today. But what I want to focus on for just a second here is sales methodology. And I don't know if this is something that a lot of you are familiar with. I know being on an actual sales team, like an inside sales team, we talked about this stuff all the time. However, when I was a real estate agent and was doing sales, I mean, that's what you're doing. I didn't know a lot of this stuff. This was not nomenclature that I was familiar with. So I want you to think about sales methodology as the framework or how your sales process is going to be carried out. So how are you going to actually carry out these steps? Now, it's interesting. We're not going to get into all the different sales styles. A lot of times when you talk about sales methodology, you think about types of sales, right? So solution sales, challenger method, Sandler method, the consultative method. I mean, there's all these different things. We could get into the weeds big time with that. That's not what we're going to talk about today. The methodology that I want you to focus on goes back to some of those quotes, the empathy, the value, video, right? Of course, we're going to focus in on that, but I want to talk about why video should be central to your sales methodology in this year. I found this amazing quote as I was doing some research for this presentation. And again, it goes back to a lot of those things, but I kind of highlighted a central word there that you can see in that paragraph. When the prospect trusts the salesperson, barriers are eliminated, right? Trust leads to open and transparent discussions about real business problems the prospect is experiencing and the impact that those problems are going to have on the business. Any of you who are in sales are reading that and your mouth is probably watering, right? I mean, barriers being broken down, honest conversations, honest, real discussion about the problems and the pains. That's what we dream about as salespeople, because we're not here to just sell you something you don't need. We want to solve problems. We want to help that. And how can we convey that as effectively and honestly as possible? Video. Video is really going to help in that. So that's why I want you to start thinking about video as being central to your sales methodology this year. I wrote out a couple of different things just as I was researching some ways that you can really build more trust in that. So you can see educate and inform, be empathetic, right? This word's coming up a lot. It's crazy. Be relevant, engage the prospect in their terms and on their time. Follow through, right? These are really good general sales practices. We're going to focus on the top two there. At least I know you have something to kind of throw in there.
Well, I love it because, people are always asking for more strategy, or what should I say on my follow-up, or, where in the process should I implement video? And I love this because even just these bullet points here, like educating and informing, this is one of those areas that we talk about through your sales process. If you're stuck and, you're in that spot where you're like, I know I need to reach out and make a touch with this person so they don't forget about me, but I don't know what to say, that right there, educate and inform. That's a perfect place where you can implement video, because you're getting that trust piece. You get to, educate them as a trusting human, or it's the same thing with empathetic. I say all the time, like when you're talking about follow-up, if it's not personal, if you can't connect with them in a personal way and you're not educating them, well, why should you send it? But video gives you an opportunity to be empathetic right out of the gate. So I love it.
Yeah. So we're going to talk a little bit about how this all kind of fits into your sales process. I mean, going back to our initial agenda that we talked about, honestly, we've already covered kind of the two main bullet points. So what we're going to focus on for the rest of this, the real meat and potatoes, which we've still got 50 minutes left, which is exciting, is how you're going to add video into your sales and how we're going to build this sales process with video as a piece of that. One thing I do want to address before we kind of jump into the sales process here is I've had a lot of people asking, are we going to get a recording of this? Are we going to get the deck? Absolutely. Yes. Thank you. We try to kind of say that at the beginning, and sometimes we just have so many things to talk about. We get so excited we forget, but you will get the recording of this webinar emailed to you, and you'll also get the slide deck as well. So you can kind of look through this. We know we're throwing out some big ideas and some big concepts, maybe some terms you necessarily haven't heard before. So you can always have that to review. But I think what I really want you to focus on is that stuff we've talked about so far is a little bit higher level, just deeper understanding. We're going to dive into what I really want you to remember and focus on kind of moving forward here. And that is, how do you get video into your sales process, right? So Alicia, we kind of broke it down into 4 really important things when you're building a process or a system. Why don't you walk them through that real fast?
Yeah. Well, so the first one is versatility, right? We're talking about sales productivity today. And if you are constantly having to leave the place where you're working, or, leave the place where you're having a conversation to go somewhere else to do video, well, it's taking you out of your sales process. You and I both started in sales. You and I both understand, when you're talking about being productive, time is everything. Sometimes you only have a couple minutes in between another call. So the versatility is huge. And we're really going to dive into how the Chrome extension gives you the ability to just pop that video into the places where you're working. For those of you that aren't familiar with the Chrome extension, you may just have been using BombBomb in one place, but we're going to show you how the Chrome extension really gives you that versatility. The second piece of your process that we're really focusing on with measuring your effectiveness is tracking, right? Tracking is huge. And we're really going to, dive a little bit deeper into the ways that tracking is going to let you know not only who you should be following up with, but when, or is your message really effective? Because again, we're talking about productivity. So you want to make sure that the messages you're sending are effective, but that you're also not wasting your time reaching out to people that aren't ready to have that conversation. Systematic, obviously. Your sales leader, your broker if you're in real estate, your manager if you're in inside sales, they want your process to be systematic, knowing that you're going to work through the same steps every single time, because that's how you can come back and measure the effectiveness. And we're going to talk about using an automated video and how you can really leverage an automated video in part of your system that still feels personal. And then ease of use. And this is where we're going to talk a little bit more about the video library and show you how to actually leverage your video library for your advantage, and not it just be a repository of videos that you never think about again.
Well, and I think these are so great because these all play to each other, right? So when you're thinking about versatility, how many times do you set a goal in January? And that's exactly how it plays out throughout the year.
Yeah.
Literally never, right? I mean, that is never, I wish I was that smart and that prepared and educated in building my goals, but they never work out. So you've got to be able to adjust. How are you going to adjust? If things are easy to use, right? If you can measure, is this working or is it not? Then you can go to the versatility and use that. So really, that's why we think these 4 bullets are just super important to talk about. So let's jump into versatility here first. I know Alicia already kind of teased that, where she talked about, we're going to talk about the Chrome extension. So let me go ahead and I'm going to steal the screen share here for a second.
So while you're bringing up your Chrome extension, we already saw a question in the chat about it. Someone wanted to know about that their system, their captive system, they're using a different CRM that's not integrated with BombBomb. And he was wanting to know about putting video in there without having to deal with double entry or transfer contacts over to your CRM. And that's the versatility piece that we're talking about, okay? If you've been a BombBomb customer a long time, this was a add-on, and our customers, when we added it on, loved it, because for a long time you could really only send from the web platform and from the mobile app. But a couple things that this Chrome extension does, okay? And I want to be really, really clear on this. So if you're distracted, pay attention to me for a second, because this is important, okay? The Chrome extension, number 1, is going to let you put a video into any email service, okay? If you are using a Hotmail email account because you refuse to transfer over your contacts from Hotmail in 1997, you can put a video into your Hotmail email using the Chrome extension, okay?
And guys, I have a Hotmail email address and I can vouch for this works, I promise. So even though I'm a little embarrassed to still admit that, like, it does work.
Yeah. So you can also, your CRM, right? Your CRM, if it's sending email from your CRM, it's sending it as an email surface there. You can put a video into your CRM email sender. If you communicate with clients on Facebook, on Instagram, over WhatsApp, over LinkedIn, in any of those places, the Chrome extension will let you put a video there. So when we're talking about versatility, you need to understand that the Chrome extension is really one of your best friends, okay? If you are not already, if you're not a Gmail user and you're not using it within Gmail, which is where I use it because my email is Gmail. If you are not a Gmail user and you're not using our Gmail extension, the Chrome extension is your best friend. So Kevin is going to demo it and show you exactly how you would use that Chrome extension and either put it into a email or how you can use it in your social media to communicate that way.
Perfect. Are you seeing our BombBomb web account right now, Alicia?
Yep,
I'm sharing the right screen. Okay. Just wanted to make sure I don't get 10 minutes into this and I'm sharing the wrong thing the whole time. The first thing I want to touch about, because I've even already seen a couple of these, and I apologize, my internet is slowly catching up right now, so it may be a little bit slow. I want to show you guys how you install it. So the first caveat you have to be using Google Chrome as your web browser. So unfortunately, if you're using Mozilla, if you're using Safari, if you're using a lot of these different ones, it's not going to be on there. Now, I'll throw this tidbit in. We're not going to dive into this much today, but we do also have this same extension for Microsoft Edge. If you use Edge, it will look almost identical to what we're going to show you today. But for right now, we're going to talk about Chrome. So if you're using Google Chrome, all you have to do is go up to your search bar here and just type in BombBomb Chrome extension. And when you search that, it's going to take you, this is just a Google search, and you're going to scroll down to the second option here, where it says BombBomb Chrome extension, BombBomb video webcam. I know this might be a little blurry because my internet's kind of slow, but it's the second option down you'll see. And if I click on that, this takes me into the Chrome Web Store. And the Chrome Web Store is where you can add this. There will be a button right here that says add to Chrome. I already have it. So mine actually says remove from Chrome, but you'll see the add to Chrome one right there. So just to reiterate, go to Google, search BombBomb Chrome extension. The second link, you'll click on that and then you'll add it from there. It takes, no joke, 5 seconds to add this extension. Really easy. And then you'll log in. Once you've actually, yeah, go ahead, Alicia.
I'm seeing questions in the chat about what about with iMail? What about with Referral Maker? No, seriously, guys, anywhere that you are sending email from, you can take this video and put it in there. So yes, your iMail, Referral Maker, Zoho, any places where you are sending email messages from, this will work.
And I'll show you exactly how right this second. So I don't know if you can see this, it's a little bit hidden here, but our little BombBomb logo is up here next to the URL search bar. All you have to do is click on that and this opens our extension. So you see, it gives us a handful of things. Tess, I can see, awesome, I already added it to Chrome. Great, good job, high five. But the first thing I want to show you is how you can actually record from this. Now, the great thing I do want to reiterate, I have my BombBomb web app pulled up right now just because that's the website I'm on. You can be on any website you want. You can be logged into your CRM. I can be on LinkedIn. I can be in my email, right? I can be on any of these things. Click this extension and it's going to pop up exactly the same way. When I want to record, the only decision I have to make originally here is, do I want to use my camera only, or do I want to actually do a screen record where it's myself and what's on my desktop at the same time? I'm just going to do a camera only here as my first example, and we're going to launch the recorder here. So you'll see this probably looks really familiar to anywhere that you've recorded BombBomb. It's going to look really similar. You can title it. So I'm just going to put a title. You can go ahead and click record here. And I'm just doing an example one. I'm not going to do a great video. I just want you guys to see the process from a technical standpoint. So when I'm done, I'll go ahead and hit spacebar to stop that. I have the ability to add the CTA, the call to action banner. I can do all those sort of things. As soon as I'm done, all I have to do is click save. And here's where it's really important for all of you that have been asking, how do I get it in these different places? Well, you can see now I get to see my animated preview that BombBomb builds for me and the options of how to share this. We have copy for email or copy link. Now, why would I choose one or the other? Really good question. Thank you for asking. I want you to think about it in a couple of different ways. Copy for email is going to be if you're sending it through an email provider, right? So anything, it's to get technical, it uses what's called HTML coding, really fancy coding that I don't fully understand. So I'm not going to be the expert in that. But anytime you're sending it through an email, so if you think of Outlook, if you're thinking Gmail, if you're thinking, I know Hotmail is kind of Outlook as well, Yahoo, any of those things that are sending emails, that's when you'll use this copy for email. The reason you're going to use that one is because it actually brings the animated preview into the email, right? It brings that extra coding in. Now, if you're wanting to send it through something different, right? Social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, some of those places. If you're not sure if your CRM has HTML coding or not, use the copy link button. This will give you a link for the video itself. So I even just clicked that and copied it. And I'm just going to hop over here. I think I can even pull up Alicia. You and I have been messaging back and forth at some point in here. I don't know where it is. You can see I'm not the best at keeping up with my LinkedIn, but I'll go ahead and open up a LinkedIn message and just paste that link in. And now I've got that video in this message. You can add any other text you want. You can add any of those sort of things that you want to add into it. And then as soon as you click send, it's automatically going to send that, and that person will be able to click on that. And you can see it actually builds the preview in the message that you're sending within LinkedIn. Now, I do not want to promise the preview in every source, right? With that link, some sources will do that, some will not. So just keep that in mind. But back to this screen right here, just to reiterate, once you've recorded the video, copy for email if you want to put it in your email provider, copy link if you're not sure if it's going to provide that or those sort of things. Yeah. And then we also have a third option. If you want to send it through BombBomb with your email template, you can do that. I just clicked on that and it's going to take it into my quick sender in BombBomb with my branding and those sort of things. But we just want you to know this is that versatility. This is what gives you the ability to send video no matter where you're trying to send it. You have that ability through the Chrome extension there. Have you seen any questions or anything? I haven't really been watching those, Alicia.
Yeah.
So coming up?
A couple questions specific to the Chrome extension. One of them was about using your video library, which you absolutely can. Kevin can show you there. When you open up the Chrome extension, you know, it's going to give you a couple options there. You can record a video, or it gives you that option to access your video library. Now, I already saw a question about, can you organize your videos? And we are going to get to that as one of our topics here. So if you're being able to actually find your videos when you need them from your video library, we are going to talk about that. But so right from that Chrome extension, you can record a video, you can use the screen recorder, you can access your video library, and then you also can take a look at tracking, and we're going to talk about that as well. So that was the main thing. I did see some questions about CTAs. You know, you guys, we did an entire webinar on CTAs recently. Those of you that are helping in chat or BombBomb chat moderators there, if you guys want to throw the link for CTAs in the chat, that would be awesome. That way we can keep on rolling. The CTAs are a really, really great function. Your high level explanation here is that it gives you an opportunity to build a link right onto your video that when they click on, it'll take them over to wherever you've navigated them, and it lives right on your video. So our chat moderators are going to put the link to that webinar into the chat there so you can watch it. But we did a whole webinar on CTAs for you. I think that was the main questions there.
Awesome. And really, I know we mainly focused on the recording aspect of the Chrome extension because we're going to talk about the other stuff later. Like Alicia mentioned, we're going to talk about those other pieces. So just to reiterate, once you've got it downloaded, all you do is click on it and you can be on any website you want record, screen record, launch the recorder there, and then just follow the steps. We really do try to walk it through. So just know, however you're communicating with the prospect, however you're communicating with your clients, you can get a video in there. The Chrome extension absolutely allows for any of that flexibility that you needed there. I'll stop the share so we can switch. Actually, we could probably just keep going, right? Because I know that the second level that we wanted to talk about was the measuring effectiveness, right? That's kind of the second level of the sales process there. And we were going to touch on some tracking stuff. Yeah. Was there anything that you wanted to cover on specifically before I show them some of the technical how-to and where to find that?
Yeah, I think I am gonna bring up your slide back here just for a second.
Sure.
You know, I think the important thing about tracking is that there is a purpose to your tracking beyond just obsessively checking to see if someone has opened your email yet. Okay. And Kevin's going to show you the actual nuts and bolts of the how you measure your tracking. But there's a few things that I think it's really, really important that you pay attention to with your tracking. Okay. So first we're talking about from a sales productivity standpoint. Okay. When you're talking about following up, I think the best thing that you can do with your tracking, number one, is when you're spending your precious follow-up time, when you're spending that time making the phone calls or reaching out or diving in a little bit deeper and trying to pull people through your pipeline. First, you want to focus your attention on people that are actually opening your emails and watching your videos, because this tells you that they are engaged with you. Right? Kevin, we talked at the beginning about trust and empathy and all of that. Constantly hammering someone that is not paying attention to you is not empathetic, right? So I think that's a really important piece to measure. Now, that's not saying you don't ever send messages to people that aren't opening your emails, but if you're sending another message to someone that hasn't opened your last two emails, or maybe they opened your email or didn't play your video, well, that information is also telling you that maybe you're not providing enough value, right? That was one of the things that we saw on the slide about sales trends for 2021. It said email messages need to be deep and provide value. So I think that the tracking gives you some really, really valuable insight into knowing, are these people engaged or not? And it gives you the information to know who you should be focusing on, or if your messaging isn't working, or do you need to target it? Another valuable piece of information that the tracking gives you is how long people are watching your videos. Okay. Kevin and I teach a lot of strategy and format and framework for videos. And a lot of times your call to action, right? You're being really specific about what the next step that you want them to take happens at the end of the video. So if you notice that most of your recipients are only watching about 70% of your video, well, they're missing your call to action. So this is really important insight to know, all right, my videos are too long, or they're too boring, or I need to do something else to get people to actually stay engaged with the content. And we can offer help with that. I did see a question in the Q&A box. Someone said they're having trouble with play rates, that they're getting people to open their videos and not press play. There's things that we can help you with on that. I would recommend shooting an email to support. They can provide you with some articles there, but that's valuable information to know that people aren't pressing play on your videos. And I know it might feel frustrating. However, without that info, you would never know that people weren't engaged. Now you know they're not engaged, so that you can adjust your strategy.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think that's super important to know. I know before I came to BombBomb, I was actually working in real estate, and I was sending emails all the time, and I was under the assumption that if I sent an email, somebody read it. I just assumed that. Like, I don't know if anybody else here had that assumption or felt that way. I realized real quick, oh my gosh, that's not true. Just because I put the time and effort in does not mean that it was opened, right? And that it was read. And it was really disappointing. It was it kind of hurt a little bit as I realized that. I realized that I was wasting my time on things. So I think what Alicia said there is really important to know. Even if you're looking at your tracking and it feels a little bit negative, that's still important for us to know. And how do we use that information to adjust the way that we work moving forward? Campbell, you put some stuff in the Q&A. You've also been kind of chatting some stuff in about those low video plays, right? So how do we use that information? Well, Alicia touched on it perfectly. Basically, it doesn't mean that the value in the video wasn't necessarily there. It means they didn't know prior to clicking play what value they were going to get, right? So there's this whole methodology around what is the subject line. If you're getting good open rates, then your subject lines are pretty good. Continue to build on that and use that for other emails. If they're getting into the email but not playing, it means we need to add some text wrapping around the video to engage them to play it, right? This is a whole journey of starting from receiving an email to, do I want to open this? Do I want to read it? Do I want to play? We need to walk our clients through that journey. So all of this information is information that you can use to continue to improve your emails. So I want you to think about it in that way. Another kind of small point, and then we'll talk about how to find the tracking and some of those sort of things. Alicia, you taught me this. If you send an email out to 500 people and maybe 100 of them open the email, don't focus on the 400 people that didn't open the email, right? I don't have time to follow up with 500 people anyways. Focus on those 100 people. Those are the people that you need to be calling. So while we're using tracking to measure our effectiveness, we're also using it to work really smart, right? And work with the right people, following up at the right times. So I know it can feel a little bit, I can get a little disgruntled, right? When it's like, why aren't more people playing my videos? But that's still important information that we can use to kind of build, moving forward there. So just a couple of things generally to talk about with tracking there.
And as Kevin is loading up his screen to actually show where the places where you can find your tracking and how to read it, to the person who did say in Q&A that they need to increase their play rate, I'll tell you right now, one of the best things that you could do is have that opening line of text above the video, telling them to play the video and telling them what they're going to find in the video. What's the value there, right? So as simple as, hey, Kevin, I recorded you a quick video with some deeper information about what we were talking about on such and such, or press play on the video for 3 quick items about our upcoming appointment, right? You're telling them to press play, which psychologically matters, as well as you're giving them that nugget of the value that they're gonna find in there, okay?
Yeah, I think those are great things. And be creative with it, right? Be yourself. That's okay. You don't have to just say what we're saying right now, but press play, tell them to play it, and then give them a little nugget so they have that reason to play. It's super important. So I'm going to cover 2 different places real quick on where you can find the tracking. The reason I want to cover 2 is because we have people with all sorts of different levels of memberships, right? So I want to make sure that you all know where you can find that tracking. So the first place is, guess what? We're going to hop back into our Chrome extension here. The Chrome extension is, you're going to have access to this no matter what BombBomb membership level you have. So if you have BombBomb Essentials, or if you have BombBomb Plus, or even our prompt level subscription, you all have this. When you open it up, we kind of showed you this a little bit before, but we have this tracking option right here where you can click tracking. This is going to be our real live fire tracking feed. So real time, as things are happening with your emails, is when you're going to be notified with these right here. So you can see there's a little orange envelope, and it shows me that I got 3 opens on this email specifically. So we're going to talk a little bit about this with our organization and some of those sort of things, but your subject line for your email matters for you too, not just for the recipient, right? Now that I've put this person's name in, I can see who actually opened that email and which email this is referring to. If I don't label that in a way that makes it a lot harder for me to understand the tracking here. So these orange envelopes are opens. We also show you clicks. If you put a link in the actual email itself that they can click on, maybe it's part of your call to action, maybe it's a calendar link, maybe it's to get to your website, maybe it's a document that they need, who knows? You'll know if they clicked on that and actually engaged with that link and how many times they clicked and when they most recently clicked. And then the third one that we actually track for you is video plays. So this is what we're talking. If you're new to BombBomb and we've been kind of throwing out, did they open it? Did they play the video? Did they not? This is how we differentiate a lot of that. And this is how you'll understand some of that information that some of the other clients are referring to. This green play button shows you the video play, how many plays you've gotten on that video. So I've sent this video to a handful of different people, and it shows you how much of the video has been watched. That's what's really important. That's what Alicia was referring to. If you're getting 70% of your video watched and your call to actions at the 85th percent, right? It's the last couple of seconds of your video. Your clients are missing that. we can't be upset with our clients if they don't follow through on the call to action that they didn't actually see, right? So we need to find ways to add it into the text, put it sooner in the video. This is how you can use some of that information as well. So there's a lot of different things here as well. You can see I actually got this video liked. So we do have some of those features that you'll be able to see in the tracking as well. That's really, really neat. Now we're going to show you in just a minute about how you can be really kind of organized with some of this tracking. And we're going to show you some of that with the filters as well. But just to reiterate, I always like to walk through this stuff twice. If you pop open the Chrome extension and then you click tracking over here on the right, that's what takes you to this live fire tracking feed. Now, if you are one of our BombBomb Plus subscribers, where you have access to our web app and some of the additional features that are there, you also can hop into your web app, log in at bombbomb.com, and you're going to have an emails tab here. This is where you can actually scroll on any of the emails that you've sent through the BombBomb system. So if you're doing mass send emails, right? If you're doing larger send, things like that. And what's great is, this will actually look a little different if my window's bigger. That's probably more what it will look like for you, is you can come down, find the email you want to look at, and then there's this little bar graph. You can see when I hover over that, it says track as well. This is actually going to be kind of what that screenshot that Alicia showed you guys will look like. This is going to take me to the back end of this email. And I can see how many did I send to. Now, this is kind of a funny example because I had to send it to myself and then forward it on to a list of people. So it does look a little wonky because of this process that I took. If you load all of your contacts into BombBomb and send to a list of people this way, you will be able to differentiate every single person and how they interacted. For me, it shows my name and then how many times they opened and those sort of things.
Yeah, I think we've seen a few different, we've seen some different questions about that in the Q&A and chat about tracking. And, you know, sometimes it depends on where you've sent it from. Whether you're going to get the email address specific tracking information, or if you're going to get the someone opened it. Okay. So for example, if you are sending a BombBomb video inside of your CRM and you're sending it to 100 people, because we don't actually have access to your CRM and there's no connection to those email addresses, we're not going to be able to tell you specifically what email address opened it. Now, if you send a video from Gmail to one person, if I send a video from myself to Kevin, it's going to tell me that it was Kevin that opened up that email. Now, like he said, if you're sending from inside the BombBomb web platform, if you're doing our mass sending capabilities, right? If you have a list that you've loaded into BombBomb and you send to that entire list, because you're sending it through us and it's connected to the email address, we will be able to tell you by email address who opened, who played, did they click on the link, how many times they played. So if you want that really deep, rich tracking from, you know, your mass sends by email address, then you would need to do that through BombBomb, but it's not necessary. That's information is there as if you want that deeper tracking to know that Tom Smith played your video 85% of the way and watched it 4 times. So for the mass sending, to get the deep tracking, it has to be done from the BombBomb platform. But if you're sending from your mobile app or from Gmail one-to-one, you are going to have the recognition of who by email address you sent it to. Does that make sense for everyone? I hope.
Yeah, I think this is it's funny stuff because this can start to get a little confusing and messy trying to talk through all the details of this, right? So one of the questions is we got in the Q&A is there somebody I can call and ask if I need support help? Absolutely. And we want you guys to know that the website, and Zoe, if you wouldn't mind throwing this in the chat as well, support.bombbomb.com is our support website. It's got a ton of knowledge-based articles. So if you're somebody that likes to read and just kind of find the answer, thank you, Zoe, just put that up there as well. It's actually support.bombbomb.com. So it's not a email address, it's support.bombbomb, but go there, look at there. There's a lot of great articles. There's videos on most of these articles that'll walk you through stuff if you like finding it yourself. Otherwise, on that website, there is a way you can contact a real person. You can submit a ticket. You can chat in with somebody, or you can call and actually talk with a live care rep. We've got an amazing customer care team who's here to help you through all this stuff. So if you have questions, we are here for you. We want you to know that. I always recommend try the website first because sometimes that's easier. But then if you need a real person, we've got that as well. The other thing that I wanted to kind of touch on that Alicia was talking about, just think about this. If you send it through BombBomb, we'll have more intense tracking. We'll have more specific tracking. If you send it through another system, it'll be a little bit more vague.
Yeah.
That's kind of the simple way to think about it, right?
Yep. I did see one other question here that I want to answer, and that was they wanted to know if you're sending a mass email from inside BombBomb, does everyone see each other's email addresses? And the answer is no. When you send from inside of BombBomb, it's always a blind copy. No one can see anyone else's email addresses or reply all. So when you're sending from within the BombBomb platform, it's always BCC. And then the last one that I'll address there is that the forwarding. I've seen a couple questions about there. If they do forward it to someone, you will not know the email addresses. You'll just see a lot of opens and plays. But you know, that is one of the things that will tell you, right? If you sent an email to someone and you see an unusual number of opens or plays, it's probably because they forwarded it.
And you know what? We actually talked a little bit about this last year in one of our webinars. Had an amazing example from Zoe, who is monitoring some of the chat and stuff. She was working as an SDR. So she was doing a lot of outreach stuff, and she would follow up. If I saw somebody open it a couple of times or watch my video a few times, she would follow up. Hey, I know that you watched my video a couple times, wanted to make sure that I had an opportunity to answer the questions that you needed, right? And it created really great opportunities for her to be able to have great conversations. I mean, she had a lot of success stories directly from those. So don't hesitate to use that information, right? To know who to follow up with, know who to reach out to next. So I know we could talk about tracking for probably the next 15 minutes, the entire length of this, but let's jump on to kind of the next level, the systematic side here, Alicia.
Yeah. Hold on, there we go. I was trying to stop her from talking. Oh. So there is, you know, there's a lot of places in your sales process where you're probably using automated emails. And this is where it's great because BombBomb we can put that video into an automated send. Now, we do have, you know, some integrations that give you an ability to automatically set up a video, this auto send on the BombBomb side. But in most cases, you are already doing an auto send, right? Like an appointment confirmation. Your calendar might automatically send whether you use Calendly or Google Calendar, your calendar might automatically be sending that appointment confirmation. Guess what? You can replace it with a video. So a couple things about automated videos. Kevin and I discussed this when we were planning the webinar, but there's some philosophy here, some ideas that I want you to think about, okay? And I want to preface this by saying, this is my opinion, okay? My opinion, especially when we're talking about the sales process and when we're talking about trust and empathy and human relationships. If you're going to use an automated video, my belief system, my opinion means or leads me down the road that you should not try and pass it off as a personal video. Now, you want it to feel personal. You want it to feel human, but I would encourage you now using language like, I'm excited to meet with you tomorrow. That's not dishonest. But when you make a pre-recorded video that says something to the effect of, oh, it was so great speaking to you. I can't wait to continue this conversation tomorrow. That's dishonest. So again, I want you to understand this is my opinion, but my opinion is that you want your automated videos to feel human and personal, and you want it to be eye-catching, but not necessarily dishonest. Like, I did record this video just for you. So one of my favorite examples is Chris Brown. He's a lender. He was one of our influencers. He has an automated video response when someone fills out a lead form on his website. Now, automated videos generally have a lower play rate. It's just the way it is, because people can kind of tell, you know, this wasn't recorded just for me. Maybe you don't have the whiteboard with their name on it. But Chris has this silly automated video when someone fills out like information on Zillow, where the video starts where he's taking a bite of something and then he turns And like the GIF is him acting surprised that there's a video there. Okay. Well, that's a great way to make an automated video kind of like feel silly and engaging, but without Chris, trying to pass it off as a human video. With Prompt, our service where we can automate happy birthday videos. We give you the opportunity to have a pre-recorded happy birthday video that we will send out to your clients on their birthday. My encouragement, and it will always be my encouragement, and like I said, this is my opinion, is that if you're going to use an automated happy birthday video, don't try and make it feel like you recorded it for just that person. Because if they get that happy birthday video that they thought was just for them, and then they find out that their neighbor, Tom, who's also your client, got the exact same video, it feels like you've been cheated. So if you have an automated personal happy birthday video that you're going to use to your clients, do it, but make it a big deal, right? Put on a silly hat, throw streamers in the air, have confetti, right? Do something big so that you're not trying to pass off an automated video as I just recorded it for you right now.
I actually received a perfect example of this, Alicia, from, of all places, my dentist. They did this really fun video. They were playing some fun happy birthday song on a stereo and walking through the dental office and like throwing confetti and holding balloons and lip syncing to the song. I knew they didn't do that just for me, right? That was not like but they love Kevin so much. I visit them twice a year, right? On a good year. Yeah. But I sat and watched all 4.5 minutes of this video and I felt really good at the end of it. So like I totally fell into, I didn't care that it wasn't personalized for me. It still was awesome that I got to see them and that they got to show that they remembered me on this day. I knew the system sent it out. I knew it was automated. I knew they didn't go in and do it for me, but still felt really good to kind of see this. And this is actually a good example. Mandy actually sends, this is an example for an appointment confirmation. I know that's one that we talked about that we think is a perfect opportunity to use one of these evergreen ones. She doesn't try to like fake it and personalize it and trick anybody, but it's really straightforward. And it also sets up, one, for more people to show up to your appointments, and two, that they're more prepared because of some of the stuff she says in here. So this is a great example of that.
Yeah, I'm going to show this video and then we'll talk a little bit more about these instances for your systematic videos. But this is a great example. Again, appointment confirmation video. This is a great place in your system to implement a video that feels really human, right? It's connected. It's going to increase your show rate, but you don't have to record it every time. It's systematic. You record it once and you drop it into your system, and then every single person gets the same video. Oh.
Hi. Hi there, Mandy with Next Home, and I just wanted to send over this video and tell you I'm so excited for our appointment. All I wanted to do is also confirm 3 things with you. First is the date and time, which is listed below in this email. Secondly is go over some questions and things that you can have prepared before our meeting. And third would be, if this isn't a good time for you, just feel free to let me know and we can get it rescheduled. So thanks again, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye-bye.
So what I love with these pre-recorded appointment confirmations is that because you are already using the same video you've used over and over again, like you saw her say, date and time location is below this video in the body of the email, right? So you're just using that same video over and over and over again. I'm going to actually skip over that video because we are low on time here. When we're talking about systematic, a couple suggestions. Number one, first touch lead response. You likely already have some sort of automated system that is making a first touch. You can drop a video in there, okay? That video, you want it to be quick. You want it to be an introduction. This isn't your opportunity to talk about all of the amazing services you offer. It's just an opportunity to say, hey, I'm a real person. I can't wait to talk to you. Appointment confirmation. We showed you an example of that. And then frequently asked questions, next steps in the process, education, things that you know are going to add value to that person's experience, whether it's before the sale or after the sale. Great places to put in videos. When we watch a video, We retain about 95% of that information, as opposed to only 10% when we read it in an email. So when you're explaining, what to expect or frequently asked questions, just the nature of you dropping a pre-recorded video into that communication, they're absorbing more of it. Which brings us to our last topic here, Kevin, organization and naming your videos.
Yeah, so we're going to probably fly through some of these things really quick, but I know one of the most important things for me when I'm trying to build a system or trying to build something I'm going to be consistent with for a long period of time is I've got to be able to do it quickly and easily, right? I can't search for 25 minutes to try and find a video that I'm going to use over and over and over. So what are some great strategies? Well, first and foremost, I want to encourage you every single time you record a video in BombBomb, name it. You will always have the opportunity to name that, whether it's before you record or after you record. I've actually kind of changed my philosophy on this and started naming before I record the video, because it just kind of reiterates in my mind, what is the point of this video, right? It just gets me centered in that. Alicia, I think you were somebody that kind of convinced me like, oh yeah, that's worth doing beforehand. I never did for the first couple of years, but it's been really beneficial. Name your video. And I'm going to show you why, actually, as I share my screen here.
Let me give it back.
Why it's so important to do that. And I'm going to show you in the Chrome extension, but I want you to know you can do this in your BombBomb account as well. When you hop into your Chrome extension and you go to your videos tab, like we showed you a little bit earlier, look at this bar up here at the top. It's a search bar. You can search for any trigger term that's in the name of that video and find that video really easily. This is going to be so helpful, right? So if you reached out to John Client and you put his name in that video title, great. Now you can search for his name and find all the videos you've sent to him. If you have a frequently asked question, right, like a new lead response or something like that, you can now type in new lead in the search bar and you can find that video really quickly and easily. So this is something I tell everybody to do. Name your videos, name your videos, name your videos. It helps on a lot of different levels, but organization, quickness, ease of use is a huge part of it. Now, this also goes for your email tracking if you're using the BombBomb web app, or like I showed you within the tracking itself. Your subject line is incredibly important on your emails, not just for can we get opens on the email, but how am I going to know what email is being interacted with? And I showed you this example earlier, but my subject line is this on my email. If I did not put the person's name, the client's name, if I did not put why I was seeing that, I would have no idea what email is being opened. If I don't know what email is being opened, I don't know what to do with that information, right? So doing these simple things like having a clear subject line, having a clear name for your video are really important so that you can hop in and you can find this information later and you can understand the tracking and those sort of things. Now, I do want to show you one additional piece with tracking that you guys may not know within the Chrome extension as well. And it's kind of a newer button. I would say over the last few months is when this has popped up. It's this filter button. You can actually filter all of your tracking by what interaction you want to see. So I can now only go look at opens if I want to. I can just see what email opens that I got. Or if maybe I have tons of email opens, but I'm really more concerned about video plays, well, guess what? Let's get rid of all this other stuff. And I can just look at my video plays. And you can see, oops, I clicked it twice, that now I'm only showing video plays in my tracking. So if you're looking for a specific interaction on a specific video, if you've named it well, and then you filter it by that interaction, you can find this stuff really, really fast. So you're not wasting minutes and minutes and minutes trying to kind of find that stuff to interact with. So use these tools.
There's a great question in the Q&A about naming videos. And the person wants to know, does the recipient see what we named it? Okay. And if you are sending it over email, they won't see what you named it. But if you're putting that video in a social platform like LinkedIn or Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp, they will potentially see the name of the video. So you don't want to name it anything like annoying client, okay? Because they could potentially see the name of the video.
My general rule of thumb is assume that they will see the name.
Yeah.
Right? Just play it safe. Assume that they might be able to see the name of that so you never get yourself into a bad situation, right? We've all had the person that accidentally replied all to a whole bunch of emails and said something not nice about somebody. Like, don't be that person, right? Just be careful. be kind with all of that. The last thing I want to show you guys real quick here, and I know I'm kind of going through this a little bit faster, but you will receive the recording so you can rewatch this part if you need to, is what we call labeling. If you have your BombBomb account, the web app, you can actually do this in the emails tab or the videos tab. I'm going to scroll down here on the bottom left and you can see that we have a thing called My Labels. You can create labels or folders for different types of videos, right? All you have to do is click the edit button here. I can type a new name for a label and add it. And then I'll even show you an example here. Maybe I want to favorite this one that I just recorded a second ago. I can grab my video and drag it into this folder. Now, every time I need to find that video again, I can just hop in my account, click on my favorites label, and now I just have those 2 videos that are left in there. These are just some quick, easy ways where you can now have access to that stuff and you don't have to spend a ton of time doing it, right? So if I click on favorites, now I have just these 2 videos that are my favorites. I don't know why these are my favorited videos, but I'm assuming you'll be very specific with what you're going to put where.
Probably from demos.
Probably, yeah.
No, I do. When we're talking about sales productivity, I think the important thing to remember here is when you're talking about having a repository of frequently asked questions or what to expect or, coming up for our appointment or whatever it is, having them labeled and named effectively means that you're not going to have to spend time searching. Right? You already have a folder of frequently asked questions so that when you get that email from a client, you already have the video that you've already recorded and you can just grab it and pop it in there real quick. And that's why I think the labeling piece is so important when you're talking about, systematic and being productive in your sales process.
And one quick Q&A we just got from Terry, or was it Terry? Nope. We got a question in there. I don't remember what name it was. Can we remove it from the label? Yes, you totally can. You can come in and remove and delete any of these videos and remove any of the labels off that you want to. So just know that adding and removing is totally there and is totally capable as well.
Yeah.
So. We've only got about 3 minutes left on this webinar. We always want to be conscious of your guys' time here. So we wanted to finish off with just kind of a quote to bring all of this stuff full circle. And then we're going to give you a little bit of a call to action, a little bit of a challenge as well. Alicia, if you want to share that PowerPoint again, we can kind of jump into those. And then whoever needs to hop off, we can, and we'll kind of just double check. But it looks like we've been able to answer a lot of the Q&A.
I think we've been answering the questions as we go. I don't see a lot of questions lingering. Of course, do reach out to our support team. If you go to that site, support.bombbomb.com. We have live chat support there. It's not a robot, I promise you. It is one of our chat people. And then they can get you the resources you need or direct you in the right direction or help you with your technical issues.
Yeah. So we pulled up this quote just because I really wanted to bring it back to, okay, we've talked a lot of technical, but why are we taking the time and energy to do all of this? And it really comes back to that one word of trust. The more trust you can build, the more likely they are to do business with you, the better that is for you and your family and the deeper meanings of why you're working so hard, right? So Zig Ziglar, actually, he passed away a handful of years ago, but man, this guy, he worked in personal development training. He provided coaching for presentations. He was a speaker, huge sales speaker. I love this quote because he says, if people like you, they'll listen to you, but if they trust you, they'll do business with you. So our call to action for you guys today, and I want you to always keep that trust aspect in mind with every video that you do, is I want you to go in and do those top 3 ideas we gave you for the evergreen videos or the generic videos, right? Record a lead response video that you can either plug into your CRM or have handy in BombBomb so you can grab and plug it into your email when you need. Record an appointment confirmation, just like that example we showed you from Mandy. Have it saved, have it organized in your CRM, whatever your process is, have that there. And then I want you to think about the top 3 frequently asked questions. What are those things that you just get asked every single week, maybe even every single day? You will not believe, I've actually put this one into practice, how much time it saves you when you can type one sentence, plug in a video and answer that question. It's a better answer than me trying to type out a couple of paragraphs because I can explain it in the video and it saves me so much time. Take the 15 minutes to do these 5 videos. Do it, save them, organize them, whether it's by labeling, whether it's by naming, putting them in your CRM, right? Save these in there. It's just going to make your life a heck of a lot easier. So make sure you do that there. For those of you that need to jump off, we always want to remind next month as well, our February webinar, we're diving into LinkedIn. We did this last year. We covered some stuff with LinkedIn, but holy cow, this system just keeps growing. The strategies keep growing, and we've got some awesome people at BombBomb that have been killing it with this. So make sure you keep your eyes open for our deep dive email at the beginning of the month that we'll talk about some of this, and then we'll have our webinar a little bit deeper into the month as well about LinkedIn. So
I do still keep seeing just a couple of random questions popping in here on chat, guys. We are going to close it out. It's the top of the hour. So if you do still have questions that didn't get answered, again, you can send an email to our support team, support@bombbomb.com, or go to our support site, support.bombbomb.com, and chat with our support team there. They can answer your questions. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We know that there was it was a lot of info today. We were really diving into product, but take Kevin's challenge with you, record some of those videos, have them in your library. So when the moment arises, they're just ready to go for you. I think that's about it.
I think we nailed it. Man, we covered a lot. If that's not it, then I think we need to stop here anyway. So thank you guys. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your flexibility this morning. We always appreciate hanging out with you guys. We're excited to see you next month to talk about LinkedIn. In the meantime, have some of those videos. Let us know if any of those are working for you. If you've got successes there, we always love to hear any of that information. But have a great start to 2021. Happy January. And we can't wait to talk with you guys soon.
See you guys next month.
Bye, everybody.